Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today is a Tuesday. So I'm back from homeschooling my little one, and my friend Amy Fulmer is going to meet us on the other side of this. She has been working tirelessly, digging up all kinds of great information for us. So give us a like and share this video. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, Amy. How are you today on this New Truth Tuesday?
I'm good, Lisa. I'm good. Again, I know you've had a rough few weeks, so I'm sending
Thank
my
you for your
prayers.
thoughts. Yes, thank you. We're
And
sending lots of love to Mom, and she was ready to send me home and try her wings. So sending her lots of love and strength.
And I want to, if she's in the audience, Nana, I'm sending you love, and I'm thinking about you.
Thank you.
Just not easy.
Appreciate it.
Any way you slice it. Any way you slice it. So anyway, but at least today, okay, you guys, Lisa and I are really going to try to make this YouTube video stick.
And not get removed magically or taken off or any of the other things.
Yeah. And unfortunately, as time goes by, the more surreal the movie gets, the more information I have that, in other words, if you weren't watching a movie, you would think you would be watching a movie. And so quite a few of the things I sent to Lisa were not, unfortunately, going to be able to discuss today.
But we do have some great stuff. And actually, I pulled up the first thing that you have, and I have something complimentary to it right after.
Good.
So I've got a follow-up, but we can go with your first slide.
Okay.
When you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready, you guys. We're just going to go through this. There's so much information, and Lisa and I are just going to kind of keep it light. We're going to talk a little bit about our, kind of what we're thinking, what we're feeling, because there is so much going on. I saw this photo, and having stood on the lawn of the White House, front and back, for several hours on multiple occasions, alone with my dad, and to see what was on the left-hand side, the image. Now, in the past week, evidently, the right image is what is going on at the White House now. I'm utterly appalled. I'm utterly shocked as an American, because this is our house. This is the people's house. This is not any one given president's house, especially someone that was installed. Okay. I don't know who puts that in. Does anybody know? Is it temporary? Is it because they think bad things are going to happen? Like what's going on with this thing? Does anybody know?
The military put this in for the January 6th thing, was my understanding. And actually, these are going up all over the world around their different parliaments and whatever. There are, if you follow on my Twitter, it'll take me a minute to go search through. And that's actually, I was going to show you something else. This is what I was going to show you. Look at that building. That's not by the White House, but this is supposedly.
Oh my God, Lisa, that's bizarre. That's the back end of the White House right there.
Supposedly.
Well, so what's that building to the right?
What is that building to the right?
Is it a movie set? Is this another movie set?
I don't know. Supposedly this was shared by RT News today, stating that the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz arrives today for talks at the White House. Problem with this clip is that no such existing building next to the White House. Notice how close this building is.
Yeah. Well, see here, you guys, here's the situation. the longer we go down this journey, the more bizarre and dystopian it gets. So we are now living in a total environment of lies and disinformation, misinformation. Look here, don't look there. Okay. So part of the show today is I kind of want to give you guys an update of some of the things that have been catching my attention. Now, let me say this. Make no mistake about it. Many, many good things are happening. We are
Yes.
making progress.
Lots of great things. Yeah.
Yes. And Lisa, to think that it's been 2 years now since we, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had our
I
little
cannot believe it has been 2 years.
medical emergency here. So I guess what I feel about that wall is
Here's some good things happening.
the one thing about the wall at the White House I have to point out is we do have an environment of hypocrisy, and I think people need to never forget that. The Democrats stand for carbon neutral, all this environmental. Bitcoin's bad to mine because it causes damage to the environment, but yet Nancy Pelosi, spent over $500 million last year flying on a private jet. Here we have a wall around the White House, but we cannot have a wall around our border.
Well, and actually, I watched a video that Michael Saylor did last night, and he was talking about actually the amount of energy to create Bitcoin versus the amount of energy to create a Fed note. And it was like you could create, oh gosh, I'm going to forget the numbers. I'll have to look it up and share it again. Get the numbers, but I wanted to say it took, like you could create $10,000 of Bitcoin versus $10 of Fed note for the same amount of energy.
Exactly.
It's actually, so once again, speaking of disinformation, I'm going to try to find some more of those wall pictures, some more of those countries that they had, because I shared several of them on my Twitter feed. They had several other countries are putting those walls up all around their different, like I said, parliaments, and
right. Well,
somebody was sharing a stream of those.
My feeling is the other countries, I don't know. I mean, I know Russia, Ukraine has a border crisis issue. But in America, we have a big, I heard, Lisa, today, I can't believe this, that Tucson, Arizona, their crime rate is up 100% over last year at this time.
Wow.
Now, Tucson's really low down close to the
it's
border.
Right on the border. Yeah, just about.
And then the farther up the state you go, some of those cities in between. So the crimes coming into Arizona, they're not even just a tiny bit. They are logarithmically jumping, double digits. And there's a lot of data supporting what the crime rate was in Arizona prior to the removal of any type of border security. So now that we've got the caravans and whatnot coming up, it is a crime against the people of America. But as I said, they can put a wall around the White House. Nancy Pelosi can have a big wall around her place in California, whatever. And so please be aware, everybody, that when you are talking to your normie, I don't even want to call them really liberal friends, because I think now there's so many rhinos and there's it's not a Democrat Republican thing. But when you're talking about people that are absolutely hating a conservative constitutional position, just gently remind them of these things. Just say, hey, well, listen, you may be for free immigration in the border, but understand there's a wall around the White House. And, what's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And everyone can check out what's on the screen there.
So we have, Lisa, you had sent me an email, and I sent you the second one. It said Lisa's email number 2.
Okay.
This was very interesting because this came from one of the Federal Reserve banks, and this was about the situation with the U.S. digital dollar coming down. And I read through that. Yeah, and it says Lisa's email number 2 is the subject line. Can you find it?
No, because I have forward White House staffers. The next email you sent me after. Hold on, let me go back down here.
Okay, that's all right. We'll get to it. as I said, you guys, there's so much information I have for Lisa. It's crazy. And a lot of the stuff is still getting 404, by the way. It is. Okay, so we will go. All right, Lisa.
I mean, I have that future, the one I sent you.
Yes.
You want me to do that, not that one?
Yeah, you can do that one. That was
The Liberty Street
yeah,
economics.
yeah. Or you can do the,
Okay.
yes, that's what I was
Okay.
talking about. This is a really, really interesting article, because what it paints is that if you are, this is from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. This is a very technical article. You would almost have to be a financial analyst or a financial historian to understand. And I do believe they write these things so the average Joe cannot even have a clue as to what they're talking about. But Lisa, I worked my way through this article, and my takeaway on this, and granted, this is coming from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The Federal Reserve banking system is our government. Okay. They are running the world. The Federal Reserve is not federal. They have no reserves, but they're the most powerful organization on the planet. Make no mistakes about it. He who controls the money controls the people until they don't. Okay. This talks about the bringing in of a digital dollar. And what they're trying to weave the narrative here as I read this is that the digital dollar is going to trump any type of cryptocurrency penetration, for lack of a better word, or involvement. My takeaway on this was not so much the technicals on it, because everyone could debate cryptocurrencies and decentralized cryptocurrencies from digital currencies. That's a no-brainer. That's easy. But this shows to me they're scared to death. When you read this article, they're already doing damage control for cryptos because they know. They know. And they know that any digital currency that they put out is going to be attached to the dollar. And we all know what's going on to the dollar. I got my lease renewal here, Lisa, in Arizona. I don't even want to tell you how much my rent went up.
Oh, really?
The average, well, I'm not saying that I'm wealthy or anything like that, but what I'm saying is if I don't know how an average person, like living on a wage with a family, I don't know that they could absorb that hit.
Well, I know my son's apartment rate went up, at least, well, they said like at least more than half.
Oh, okay. Mine wasn't 50%.
Again. Yeah. Increase.
Yeah. And you guys just, we have not even come into the hyperinflation portion of the inflation yet.
Right.
Okay. So understand that as the digital currencies come down, all of us are going to have friends that are thinking digital currencies are cryptos, with all of our normies, our friends and families that don't understand. And the Fed is already doing damage control because they know the genie's out of the bottle. And they know how powerful decentralized cryptocurrencies are. So bear that in mind. For those of you that really want to see the position of the Fed, you can go, you can get this and look at it. It's very interesting because you can tell when there's fear and you can tell when there's damage control. And I was like, this is really interesting.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat, and I will put it in the description as well, just because I think it's really an important article for everyone to read.
Yeah, it's very important, very important. And it's heavy, you guys, but you can get the gist. So, Lisa, the next email I sent you was the fact that Biden violates the Constitution daily. Okay, and there was an article
so
about
not the mystery Instagram. We're going up to
and then we can do the mystery Instagram afterwards.
Okay. So we'll go to this one.
Yeah. So, I do love the Gateway Pundit. And those of you now, there is a video here. You don't have to listen to the video because it's really depressing. The video shows in New York, in New York, which is right outside of Manhattan, one of the beautiful malls there. They were stealing out of the Louis Vuitton store, and as you guys know, in New York, they can't arrest anybody. And what was frightening was the security guards were just standing there watching. So if you
nothing they can do.
There's nothing that, and they were just standing there, and these people were walking in and just clearing out the Louis Vuitton store. So that's what the video is showing. But basically the article is that video right there, that news clip shows that. But what they were saying in this article is that Joey, he violates the Constitution on a daily basis. And we have complete and total disregard now for our Constitution. This is a really, really important story. And Lisa, how much do we love the truckers?
Oh my gosh, I think it's awesome. Yeah. And the truckers were being backed up by the farmers now. The farmers are bringing their tractors out and supporting them. And then the people from town are coming out. I saw one lady baked, I don't even know how many cakes to come out and bring to the truckers and the farmers. It's just really beautiful thing.
Right. So here's the deal, you guys.
And Amy, I don't know if you saw, we played it on Monday, yesterday on Westwood's birthday, Trudeau's security, it's like his Secret Service stepped down because it was breaking, and he cited the Canadian Constitution because that's why he stepped away from his job, which was to protect Trudeau.
Right. And that's in violation of their Constitution, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that abduction of responsibility?
I don't know. He didn't use those terms, but he said that, you're asking me to harm Canadian citizens, these things that you're asking me to do. And he went through and read, here's what I signed up. This is the oath that I took as a Canadian police or Canadian officer, or whatever his title was. And then he read his oath to everybody. And then he said, I'm having to step down from my position of 8 years of being security for Trudeau and whatever. And so he quit his job, and it was really powerful, really amazing.
Well, this whole trucker thing. Now, first of all, you are not hearing anything about this. The only thing that you hear on American MSN is it's a fringe group of radical, small, fringe group of dangerous people. And Lisa, I've got a document to show you. The one from the Department of Homeland Security was issued yesterday. We have to spend a little time on that because that says it.
Meanwhile, there's no property being damaged.
I know.
No one's being harmed. Unlike when BLM and Antifa were burning cities to the ground, and no one was being held accountable,
Well, and I guess what I can really say is the tragedy is, unless you're on alternative media, you're not going to know what's going on. But we love the truckers. Now, I had a link, Lisa, and you don't have to pull it up. I had a link for donation because, as we know, the GoFundMe, boy, what an interesting story that was. Did you hear that whole story about how they had?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then they retracted it, and now they're giving it back. And see, Lisa, this is part of the unraveling, that people need to see this. They need to see it. But the sad part is we are in this huge fight now to get the truth out to everybody. And the longer we go down this road, the more censorship and more dangerous it becomes, because there's a whole world of Americans out there that still think things are the way they are when they're not. So everybody, I know it's hard when you're talking to all your normie people that think they've been brainwashed. But do try to be patient if you can with them. Try and like, don't get in an argument, but just drop a few of these. I'm hoping from this show you can walk away with one or two little things that you can say, have you thought about this? There's a lot of hypocrisy about the border. Look at this and look at this. And, everybody says Bitcoin is, not environmentally friendly. But yet, Miss Fancy Nancy flies around to the tune of 500 million last year in a private jet. And we all know what kind of environmental damage private jets cause.
Yeah, it's crazy. That was another thing. I saw an article. I'm not sure if Uncle Cliff posted it, but there was this guy that created a hydro electric car. And he was actually, hold on. That's right. It's pretty recent in my feed, so I should be able to find it pretty quickly. He was actually, here it is, the water car. Oh, it was Conspiracy Bot. It wasn't Uncle Cliff. This talks about the water car. Stan Meyer was the inventor of a car that ran purely on hydrogen extracted from water. When strong interest came from the Pentagon and the $5 trillion a year big oil industry in 1997, Meyer was alleged to have refused a $1 billion offer for his patents. Stan Meyer was poisoned to death the next year.
Oh, gee. Oh, well. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
So this is one of the crazy things. Donald Trump Jr., Lisa, he tweeted out, and the subject line is crack pipes.
Well, we know who he's talking about there.
Okay, you guys, you can't make this stuff up. I swear.
Could it be the first family?
The first family. Okay, so Joey puts in one of the bills, these environmental bills that go before Congress. Okay, crack pipes, which I don't really know about them, but I believe they're for smoking very deadly, like methamphetamine.
Come on, are you kidding me?
I swear to God. So what they did, Lisa, I swear to God, Joey put this in a bill that if when this bill gets passed, are furnishing crack pipes to all the meth addicts or who else uses those for free, because it's considered racial inequality if they don't.
Why is that a race thing? Lisa, what does that have to do with race?
They put it under this. You know how the liberals, the left bundles everything in these, they're almost bizarrely absurd. So
are they giving, and which race are they giving these to?
They just said the reason, this is how I understand it. Now, understand
and whatever race they are giving that to, that race should be really offended and sue their ass. Like,
I just can't believe that this is coming out of taxpayers' money, and this is okay. In other words, the crazy left thinks it's okay to take American
to make racist, offensive statements and somehow make it seem like it's enlightened and loving, right, and Lisa, self-righteous. I can't even.
You die if you smoke. I mean, when you smoke this crack stuff, it kills people.
Well,
it's a death sentence.
We also know who started, the KKK. What party?
Right. So you can look this up. You guys,
you
can look this up. I didn't want to take a lot of time because to me, this is part of the crazy making. We're in the crazy making time now, especially when we get down to the Department of Homeland Security statement that was issued yesterday. We're entering into bizarro land, you guys. This is bizarro land. There is no rational thought. I am also completely convinced that the normies, the people that have bought the narrative about, you know what, okay, the health scare, because I know a few of those. When they listen to MSM, I'm convinced their brains are slightly altered. There has to be some kind of like switching up of rational, like crossing over of something, because we have reached a point of it's irrational. what is happening in America. But little by little, Americans are starting to see. And I don't think it's so much a left-right thing anymore like I used to. But I do think it's an uncovering, and I do believe more and more and more is coming out. So Lisa, I want you to go to the Department of Homeland Security. We've got to go through this document because to me, this is a showstopper. This document was issued yesterday, and I'm going to open mine. Can you give me a minute? I want to.
Yeah.
At least if you want to start reading it. The reason I want you guys to hear this, it's a little painful. Lisa, when you read it, go slow, because note the words that they are using, because the truckers and the people that are standing up for our Constitution, because they don't agree with us, they don't agree with our narrative, so we're being labeled as terrorists.
Okay, so this is what Tulsi Gabbard was speaking out against the other day. I've got a great clip of her speaking out against this as well.
I wanted Lisa to spend I just wanted to read through this slowly, because until you read this, like I remember when after 9/11, when the Department of Homeland Security went into effect, we were told that it was a very temporary measure to make sure the bad guys, I don't want to say a lot of words, don't go up in the air again and cause, catastrophes in the air. That was what it was formed for, was to check the safety of the aircraft against the bad guys. We know what those words are. Here we are 25 years later, and we still have all this. It's just like, oh, let's have 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And here we are 2 years.
Well, it's like income tax. That was supposed to end after World War II.
Exactly.
That was temporary. And yet, here we are.
And so here, you guys, this is why I love the truckers. And I had a link to donate to the truckers, but I can't find it. And I don't know if it was.
I can find it. There's a, it's on, I have one on my,
okay. Lisa,
Twitter.
Will you post it? Well, you can just,
yeah.
You guys, even if it's $5, what, in other words, they may end up saving the Canadian and American truckers and farmers, will probably end up saving the US Constitution and your freedoms. Because this would not have been put out. What we're about to read, this was released yesterday, February 7th, from the Department of Homeland Security. So I'm going to read the first paragraph, and then Lisa and I
you go ahead. I'll pull up the link for the link I have, it goes to is a Bitcoin donation to the Canadian truckers.
Okay. So, obviously, I had one that had some kind of PayPal thing. I'm very leery.
Well, I have the one that you have from Going Parabolic.
Okay. Well, even if it's Bitcoin, the good thing about the Bitcoin is the blockchain is the settlement. You know what I mean? So, but we need to support them in every way that we can, because this is what's coming down. So I'm going to start this. This was released yesterday. The United States remains in a, note these words, you guys, heightened threat environment fueled by several factors, including an offline environment filled with false or misleading narratives and conspiracy theories and other forms of dis, and malinformation. MDM. Now they have a little acronym for it. Isn't that lovely? Introduced and or amplified by foreign and domestic threat actors. Okay? These threat actors seek to exacerbate societal friction, to sow discord and undermine public trust in government institutions and encourage unrest, which could potentially inspire active violence. I don't think so. The truckers are trying to restore our Constitution. They do not want toxins put in their body. That's not what this is saying. Mass casualty attacks, mass. Notice they're saying mass attacks. We haven't had one death yet. Lisa, have we had one death yet from this trucker convoy?
Nope.
Okay. Here they're saying mass casualty attacks and other acts of targeted violence conducted by lone offenders. Excuse me, I don't think 100,000 truckers and farmers are lone offenders. I don't think that's lone offenders. And small groups acting in furtherance of ideological beliefs. No, we're talking about constitutional beliefs. We are talking about God-given rights. And or personal grievances. Personal grievances? No, I don't think so. Pose an ongoing threat to the nation. While the conditions underlying the heightened threat landscape have not significantly changed over the last year, the convergence of the following factors has increased the volatility, unpredictability, and complexity of the threat environment. Number one, now this is what they're saying about us, you guys. Number one, the proliferation of false or misleading narratives. No. It's opposite. Think opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Think opposite. Okay, which sow discord or undermine public trust in the U.S. government institutions. That's what they're doing. Not us. Not us, you guys. Don't let them twist you. You've got to get your head on straight because they're using, this is like the fuckery. You know what I mean? Number two, continued calls for violence. Do you think we're calling for violence, Lisa? Never once.
No.
Once.
They have blow up bouncy houses out there, and they're like playing street hockey, and they're
they're singing, they're dancing.
Yes.
People are giving food away.
Mm-hmm. No.
Okay, so we have now, they're saying continued calls of violence directed at the U.S. critical infrastructure. So they're saying the trucker convoys are threatening our infrastructure. I haven't seen one threat, and I've been all over this thing. I have been all over this thing. Soft targets and mass gatherings, faith-based institutions such as churches, synagogues, and mosques. They're saying that the truckers are threatening these. I haven't seen one threat. Not one. Institutions of higher education, racial and religious minorities. Okay, here we go. Here we go. They're saying the minorities are being threatened. Haven't seen one minority being threatened.
Well, and we don't have the trucker thing in the U.S. yet.
Right.
Well, in Canada.
But
this is what they're preparing for. They're anticipating.
Right. Government facilities, personal, including law enforcement and the military, the media, and perceived ideological opponents. And three, calls by foreign terrorist organization for attacks on the United States based on the recent events. I'm going to assume the recent events means the convoy. Now, let's just stop for a second, you guys. Number one, this is a legal document that is posted on the government website yesterday. This is such a pile of lies.
But this is a follow-up from Biden's statement that Tulsi Gabbard spoke out about and against. Let me see if I can find her. Hold on, give me just a sec. Oh, it'll take me just a second. Because she was like, this is awful that basically they're speaking out saying that if you stand against me and my ideas, then you are a terrorist against the government withholding your rights.
Right. Couldn't be less true.
Insane. Yeah.
It's insane. So the duration, this was issued yesterday. It expires on June 7th. Okay. At 2:00 in the afternoon. Now, you know that they're never going to let this expire. They're going to keep this going. Additional details. This is what we all need to know. So in America now, if you don't go along with their narrative and you stand up to the Constitution, your constitutional rights, you are now a terrorist actor. Okay. According to this document. The primary terrorism-related threat to the United States continues to stem, you guys have to get this term, from lone offenders. Lone, I don't think hundreds of thousands of people worldwide want what we're talking about to be lifted, okay? Which is the whole face diaper and everything. We're asking for that to be lifted. That is not a lone offender. Or small cells. Note the word cells. We're cells now. Lisa and I are a cell of individuals who are motivated by a range of foreign and or domestic grievances, often cultivated through the consumption. Note these words, guys. The consumption of certain online content. How about the truth? How about the truth? The convergence of let me shut this up. The convergence of violent extremist ideologies. Now we're violent extremist ideologies. Those of us that follow the American Constitution. False or misleading narratives and conspiracy theories have and will continue to contribute to a heightened threat of violence in the United States. Whoa, let's stop right here. This is what they're doing to us. Think mirror, think opposite. They are doing to us what they're accusing us of doing. That is war tactic 101. That's how you make people crazy in the head.
Mm-hmm.
You get them to doubt themselves. You keep them off center. It's like washboarding. Okay, now here we go. Key factors contributing to the current heightened threat environment include, now this is what, if you do this is what's going to happen. The proliferation of false or misleading narratives. That means if you don't agree with them, which sow discord or undermine public trust in the US government institutions. So like Facebook took down the website that all the truckers, they had a Facebook page, and they took that down because it didn't go along with the Facebook narrative. So here they're saying that, see, it's very weird. It's like, okay, Facebook can take it down, but if you're just a freedom person and you want to get a group of people together and have a peaceful assembly and exercise your rights, then, if you don't play by their rules, you get labeled this. Okay, this is my problem. This is my problem. For example, there is a widespread online proliferation of false or misleading narratives regarding unsubstantiated. No, it's substantiated.
Mm-hmm.
Widespread. Oh, I can't say it. The FRAUD.
Yeah.
Okay, that happens on November 2nd, every 4 years. Okay?
Yeah.
And the infection. Okay, so they're talking, if you say one or two of those other things, grievances associated with these themes inspired violent extremist attacks during 2021. Oh no, I don't think so. When you mandate that a child gets this and then gets myocarditis or has a stroke, that's violent. You don't tell me that that's not violent. You're violent, not me. Malign foreign powers have and continue to amplify these false or misleading narratives and efforts to damage the United States. We're not trying to damage the US. We're just trying to save our great country. Continued calls for violence directed at the US critical infrastructure. I don't see anybody threatening the infrastructure. Do you, Lisa?
No, definitely not. I'm trying to find this.
Soft targets and mass gatherings, faith-based institutions such as churches, synagogues, and mosques, institutions of higher education, racial and religious minorities, government facilities. Okay, they're saying all of these institutions are being threatened. I haven't seen one trucker make one threat. Not one. Okay? So it goes on and on and on and on and talks about, now, this is the part I want to get to, how we are responding. Okay, so it goes through this whole litany accusing us, constitutionalist, freedom-seeking Americans, who are exercising our right to protest. Okay, this is what they say they're going to do over the next week, year, and months. The DHS and the FBI continue to share timely and actionable information and intelligence with the broadest audience possible. So I'm going to assume they're doing that through the mainstream media. This includes sharing information and intelligence with our partners across every level of government and in the private sector. We conduct reoccurring threat briefings with private sector, state, local, and tribal, territorial, and campus partners, including to inform security planning efforts. The Department of Homeland Security remains committed to working with our partners to identify and prevent all forms of terrorism and targeted violence, and to support law enforcement efforts to keep our communities safe. Okay? Department of Homeland Security Office of Intelligence and Analysis established a new dedicated domestic terrorism branch, okay?
What?
Yep. To produce the sound and timely intelligence needed to counter related threats. The department expanded its evaluation of online activity as part of its efforts to assess and prevent acts of violence while ensuring the protection of privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties. That's debatable. That's a debatable statement. Okay. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, now here's another thing that they've done.
That's concerning. That's like back when Obama was president and they had they were turning the old Walmarts into camps and all that stuff was going on.
Exactly. So they also set up the Center for Prevention Programs and Partnerships, which provides communities with resources and tools to help prevent individuals from radicalizing to violence. In 2021, CP3, that's the name of this organization, awarded about $20 million in grants. Oh, I wonder who got the grants. Through its Targeted Violence and Terrorism Protection Grant Program. Okay. CP3 also partners with local communities to raise awareness about how to prevent violence. So this goes on, you guys, and it's got multiple layers of things that they're setting up. And then it says how you can help at the very end, which it's basically saying snitch.
Yeah, I was going to say, report your neighbor.
Report potential threats. That's what it says at the bottom of the article, Lisa. Report potential threats. If you see something, say something. Report suspicious activity to the local law enforcement or call 911. This was posted yesterday. This is in direct response to what our neighbors up in Canada and the truckers that are exercising their right to protest, to take back the freedom. Because our governments do not have the right to violate our body and violate our children. I'm sorry, they don't.
That's insane.
You guys, we are at a biblical pivotal moment in history. I believe we're winning, okay? I believe we are winning.
But they do have to show us what the plans were. I mean.
Yes, Lisa, yes. See, this is how they operate. In the occult world, it's called sigil magic. Sigil magic is hidden in plain sight, where everything is right out front, like the movie The Wizard of Oz, okay? All the Disney movies, it's hidden. That's sigil magic. This is what the government does. They're literally posting in your face what they're going to do, but it's what they're doing. It's what they're doing, and they're twisting it. So we are getting into the teeth of it right now. This is my opinion, only my opinion. Half of the stuff I send Lisa, I go back and look at it like a day or two or three later to see if it's something I put them into different files. I kind of organize things. Majority of it's 404'd, which means it's taken down.
Right.
So half the stuff I read and research, I can't even report on with you guys because it's already scrubbed off the internet. Okay, fine. We know that that's happening. But I want to share with you a very positive piece. And Lisa, it's one of the last emails about the IRS. This is major.
Yeah. And we talked about it.
Okay.
Maybe I just talked about it at home.
No,
I may not have talked about it on the show.
You and I texted about it. We texted about
Okay.
it. Okay. This is where we're winning. This is where we're winning. I saw a news snippet 2 weeks ago that said when every taxpayer, it's a new IRS law, that every US taxpayer, when they file their tax returns, will not be able to file them unless they log into the IRS website. They do this film thing. They want facial recognition identity. They will not take your tax return until you go through this process. Well, I freaked out. So I called my accountant, and she's always going to, all the classes to keep her, all the time. She's in these.
Continuing ed. Yeah.
Right. So I sent her the thing that I saw, and I said to her, is this true? And she said, Amy, it's true. And I said, okay, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You're saying that when I file my taxes next month, I'm going to have to do like a little video thing with my camera saying I'm Amy Fulmer. This is what I am. I'm filing it. She said, yes. And I said, are you kidding me? And she said, no. Lisa, I flipped out. I went into such a depression. I was like, okay, this has gone too far. This has now crossed the line. So guess what I found, Lisa? It was either yesterday or today. This is on the Hedge. I think it was last night.
Yeah,
the IRS abandoned the plans to require third-party facial recognition. This is the article. This is
which realistically, I mean, their computers are so old. I mean, I heard they haven't had updates since the 70s or something.
Well, no, they were going to outsource,
behind.
Lisa,
Like,
they were going to
really?
outsource the third. In other words, the facial recognition portion, they were going to outsource to a third party. They've got the name of the company in there.
Wow.
So
I
they
just
were
wasn't buying it. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I think happened, I think the blowback, can you see someone like Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, even Cliff High or Bitcoin Ben getting up there? You know what they would say? They'd pick up one of those phones and they would say, IRS, F off.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to do that crap.
Well, my friend Sean was saying, he said he was playing around with, I don't know if it was his phone or something. And he said, I was trying to see like how much it would take to distort your face for your facial recognition not to work. And he said, so everybody, all you have to do is like make some silly
And it completely throws the whole thing
during the video. Yeah. So, I mean, people are incredible. The humans are resilient. We've made it this far. We're going to make it through this. So I don't know. Yeah. And enough people were saying they're going to stop paying taxes.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I think is going to start happening anyway. So
I couldn't agree with you more, but I'll take a win, you guys. I'll take a win.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's more and more of these wins. We're seeing the masks come off. There were kids, was it in Michigan? I believe it was in Michigan. The principal said, you have to mask up or you have to go home. And the kids were looking at each other and they're like, peace. They all bailed. There was a big video of that today. More and more of this, people have had enough.
They've had enough. And I know Jean-Claude is up in
Canada.
Ottawa, right? And I've been following his reports. He's doing a beautiful job. And I'm not there, but I've been talking to a couple of people on Twitter that are there, that live there. And this is a big moment of truth. I mean, the whole world is watching.
Yeah. And a lot of respect to Canada because at first, the lockdowns were coming hard and fast for them. Not just the lockdowns, the mandates, what was going on in their country was just incredible. And of course, they don't have a Second Amendment the way we do. I mean, I'm sure they have a Second Amendment, but it's not the same Second Amendment that we have. They don't have guns in their country, the right to protect themselves the way that we do. And so you saw their freedoms get stepped on. And they finally got to the point where it was enough. And they're fighting back in a peaceful way. And that's really encouraging to see that it doesn't have to lead to violence.
Right.
And we can do the same thing in our country.
Well, and
we can say enough in a peaceful way.
Right. And I do know that there is a plan. I don't know enough about it, you guys, so don't take this as gospel. But they are planning a U.S. trucker convoy. I think it's next month.
I have no idea.
to DC. I support any peaceful assembly that stands up for the Constitution. It's that simple. It is that simple. And if our president is breaking constitutional law, we know it's being broken on the state. But I
If
will
any president is breaking constitutional law, they should be held accountable. Yeah.
they should be held absolutely accountable. But what I do love from this, you guys, is we can't really talk about it, and we definitely can't talk about it, but there are some things that are happening here in Arizona, very, very positive. I think we're going to start to see some truth in
Well, Wendy Rogers' bill to make Bitcoin,
legal tender in Arizona.
Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash legal tender. That's pretty exciting. That's not just Bitcoin. I thought was significant as well.
Well, Lisa, not only that, I think Wendy Rogers should run for president. I really do. She's also saying that they need to make it so from a state point of view, it's not taxed at the state level. No cryptos are taxed at we pay state and federal taxes, right?
So there are, I talked about it on some other shows, but Oklahoma is considering, they've put a bill in to hold gold in our state reserve, and that would protect us from federal taxes, as well as there's some other benefits of that. But I think that's part of that thing. I'm wondering how that would affect the states if they held Bitcoin in their state reserves as well.
Well, interesting you should say that, because today the U.S. government seized billions of dollars, like 500 billions worth of Bitcoin from the old, was it Bitfinex hack? Was it?
Oh, really?
Did I put that in the email to you?
No, See, I've been at school all day, so I don't.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, I didn't put that in because I had so many things. Okay, so here's the deal. This morning, I've been researching this all over Twitter, and you'll see it, Lisa, tonight. There was a hack, big. I think it was. I don't want to say the wrong exchange. I don't want to give. I want to say Bitfinex, and the government today literally seized
$3.6 billion
in Bitcoin. But here's what I said. I said it's bullish for Bitcoin because you know why? Here we go, right here, Lisa. Good job. Bitfinex. See, this shows why Bitcoin is so good, because it can be tracked on the blockchain to a wallet address. Whereas if you've got cash, you can't track it. So this is bullish for Bitcoin. This is the reason that we need truth and honesty on the blockchain, because with enough due diligence, every transaction can be tracked to a wallet address. So therefore, it's not used by, the bad guys are going to use, but this just shows what an asset Bitcoin was. Because if it was a cash thing, they couldn't have got these guys.
2 individuals in New York on Tuesday, a married couple, Ela Lichtenstein and Heather Morgan, will appear in court at 3 p.m. in New York today, I guess.
Yeah, this is a big story, Lisa. This is a huge story, because these
120,000 Bitcoin.
I know, Lisa. So now this is being held by the feds. Do you think the feds are going to let that Bitcoin out of their claws? I hope they'd be crazy if they did.
Will it be released to the people that were?
I don't know. I don't know how this works. Is this going to be another Mt. Gox thing where it gets held for 10 years and then everybody just gets like a Satoshi or something?
Transaction moved the stolen Bitcoin to Liechtenstein's wallet, and some of the 25,000 Bitcoin were transferred out over the past 5 years. Remaining 94,000 Bitcoin remain in Liechtenstein's wallet. After the execution of court-authorized search warrants, online accounts controlled.
They were able to track it, and that's why it's bullish for Bitcoin, because the argument has been by the old traditional finance people that, Bitcoin's used by thieves. Well, first of all, long before Bitcoin, thieves were using gold. They were using dollars is the number one. Fiat, dirty fiat is what is the preferred currency of crime.
Is what's really not traceable. Yeah.
Right. But here, this just shows how great. In other words, Bitcoin was just doing what Bitcoin does. It's the Trojan horse in the room. It's just going along on the blockchain. It didn't press the send button. It didn't go into the exchange and hack it. Bitcoin was just following out in perfect precision in its pristine protocol with math on the blockchain that went from wallet A to wallet B, and it was tracked. How beautiful is that? That's why we need the blockchain to track everything. I love it. I love it. This is so bullish for Bitcoin. I can't even believe it. But now, Lisa, all of this crypto, all of this Bitcoin is there. This is a big story. There's going to be a lot come out in this story because these two players, I'm telling you, there's a story behind these two people. Telling you there's a rat in the woodpile somewhere with these two people.
Oh, I'm sure that their connections with who they work for
but this LinkedIn is like
profiles.
And I'm sure on the mainstream media, they'll diss Bitcoin and say, see, we told you Bitcoin was used by crooks. But that's like saying,
a gun killed someone. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the person that picked up the gun that shot, the gun didn't get up off its own on its own accord. And
right.
Bitcoin didn't. Bitcoin was just being transmitted. That's all. So this is going to be a big, big story.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's bullish.
Oh, okay. I have to go back through and read this again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So this just broke today as well. So it's all very interesting, you guys, but there are good things happening. The only thing I know, Lisa, your audience is so out in front of everything. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but all of us get tired. All of us have our normie friends and families. Try to take away one or two things from the show and just keep them in your hip pocket. So when they start in with their narrative, you can just gently put something out on the table. You can say, well, this is what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Little by little by little by little, the house of cards is starting to crumble.
G. Graham said USA now owns the second most Bitcoin. Unless it's returned to whoever the Bitfinex
I don't know.
Original owners were.
Right. Exactly. So I don't know how that's all going to shake out, but that's an unraveling story.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. Well, that's great news. What an amazing time to be alive. Like, every day I think I can't hear a more wild story, and then it gets wilder and wilder and wilder. So thank you for doing all that great work and bringing us such amazing information. I appreciate it, Amy. And thank you guys for listening in the chat and giving us great information and tips yourself. You guys make sure to give us lots of great comments and information for yourself. I'm going to put a couple of the links in the description. So if you're watching this now, you might give me a couple minutes to check back and refresh it. But if you're watching this later, you should be able to see a bunch of links in the description, as well as links to find Amy's website and some information and resources that I have for you as well.
And you guys, one last thought. Just remember, standing up for your freedom rights that the Constitution gave you does not make you a terrorist. Don't ever let them feed you that line.
Right. No matter how many times they say it, it does not make it true.
Correct.
Right. All right. You guys take care, and we'll see you tomorrow on Woo Wednesday with the Public Awakening.